Okay, so this is a little bit of a throwback. Got to go to Boston with the boys in 2018. It was 96 hours in Boston. Hope you enjoy it. Where are we going?
Boston. We're going to Boston.
When we were in the airport, they kind of let me lead. I got to help us find our seats.
So it was my first plane flight.
And they were a little bit scared. Quinn has a really good plan. What's your plan? To sleep? Why?
Because you can't see the ceiling.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and try?
I probably didn't even remember going on a plane when I was 2, so it felt like my first time. It was my first conscious flight.
Elliot was not unconscious. This is not the A-Team.
You putting drugs in my hamburger, Hannibal? The instant they had like their toys and that free cranberry juice, they were happy.
One of the things that we like to do is we like to guess the color of the rental car.
Blue!
Silver.
Silver.
As you remember from Alaska, I tried to claim it was a different color.
He had guessed it right, and he was trying to make him get it wrong.
It's silver.
No, it's white.
Elliot, you won. Why aren't you celebrating?
Because it's white. So after lunch, we went to Fenway Park.
One of the oldest baseball stadiums in all of the United States.
Even if you're not a huge baseball fan, Fenway Park is a great visit.
And our tour guide named Joe just had this really thick Boston accent.
Fenway Park, 106 years we've been playing baseball here. We're gonna enter the ballpark. Just to the right of home plate, we're gonna turn left, head down that third baseline.
And it was just incredible, like taking us all around and getting to sit at the Green Monster, and you just get to be in all of these places where all these historic moments have taken place over the years.
It was really cool to see Fenway Park.
So after the stadium tour and the flight and everything, the boys were pretty wiped out, so they fell asleep.
We decided to stay outside of Boston, and so we stayed in Concord, Massachusetts.
We went to the North Bridge where the shot heard around the world was.
And it was really cool to be in a place again that has such history, where there's actually something that's more than 200 years old, and you can see it and you can experience it.
Grave of British soldiers. They came 3,000 miles and died to keep the past upon its throne unheard beyond the ocean tide. Their English mother made her moan. April 19th, 1775. Sad, huh?
What do you do on a rainy day? On vacation? What are we doing?
Road trip. Go on a road trip and get hats. They might be big hats. You want to get one?
On day 2, it was my birthday.
It was raining, so we didn't want to head into Boston. So we kind of just decided to spontaneously do a road trip.
And we made it our goal to go to 5 different states in one day.
So we started obviously in Massachusetts, went south, went into Connecticut, and there was this speedway.
There were these 2 cars fighting to the death.
By fighting to the death, I think we mean practicing.
I really loved it at the time because I was obsessed with the Cars movies.
From there, we looked on the map and it was really close to the border with Rhode Island, so we just drove a little bit further.
Usually on trips, we like to stop and pick rocks.
I like having just this tiny piece of the place I visited with me.
We're getting a rock in each state we visit, so now we're gonna choose. I choose you. Hey, where are we right now?
Rhode Island.
One of the things we love to do on road trips is listen to music and sing along. And so we had a lot of fun, not only singing songs that we were hearing on the radio, but also making up our own songs and having a lot of fun.
Na 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 na, na 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 na, hey hey hey, goodbye Yankees.
Every road trip, this is a must. Where are we at, boys? What store?
Target, Massachusetts. Target.
Yes, thank you, Quinn. Target. We have to stop at Target.
We have to stop at Massachusetts. It's the best store in the world. Massachusetts isn't even a store. Yes, it is.
Drove back through Massachusetts, through New Hampshire, and went into Maine.
We're in Maine.
Then we saw Nubble Lighthouse, which should be Nibble Lighthouse because it looks like the rock has been nibbled out of it.
It was pretty cool because there was like water and then you got to climb on the rocks.
It's on the ocean, and I love like a good cool mist and like crisp air, and there was something so soothing and invigorating about it.
From there we went back to Portsmouth. It's Portsmouth, like Plymouth. You wouldn't say Plymouth, so you don't say Portsmouth.
So we parked near kind of a few restaurants, but we still weren't sure what we were gonna do. And as we were walking down the street, this girl, like we stopped just to kind of peek at a menu outside of this place.
And then they offered us, me and Elliot, cookies.
So we went into the restaurant, and it ended up being this amazing place that later on people were trying to get into, and it was booked.
Yeah.
So we walked around Portsmouth. It's such a cute, adorable little town.
What do you think of Portsmouth?
It's creepy.
It's totally adorable, right?
Dad saw ships and then I was like, are they rocket ships?
Sometimes you do things just because they're special to this place, so popovers are like a well-known thing around here. So we got one, and we're gonna share it. Check out a brick. We decided to do a self-guided tour of the Freedom Trail, and we started in Boston Common Park. It's a really nice park. It has fountains, it's really pretty, lots of trees, and then it had these cute little like duck statues.
We decided rather than trying to do the Freedom Trail all in one day, we broke it up into 2 days. One of the first places we stopped was the Park Street Church,
where William Lloyd Garrison gave his first anti-slavery speech. It was on Independence Day, but it was addressing people in our own country who weren't free yet. And so I think it's really cool and a really inspiring way to start the Freedom Trail in Boston.
We saw Paul Revere's tomb.
and it was crazy because they had so many old graves. Just seeing all of these names that you've read about in history is just really cool to see in person.
King's Chapel was really cool, and I loved sitting in the pews and kind of pretend for just a few minutes that we were people who were around back then.
We went to the Old State House, which was also the site of the Boston Massacre. Like Jill always says, it's like time traveling. We stopped at Central Market, which is a really cool place where they have tons of food
that kind of catered to all of our different tastes. So the guys got pizza, and I got clam chowder because I'm in Boston. I mean, how do I not get clam chowder? Boston cream pie, which is like famous. It's right over there. And then we got Boston cream pie, and we took that to go.
And we walked a little further along the path and we went to Christopher Columbus Waterfront Park.
Right over here is Christopher Columbus and the harbor, playing tag, enjoying history, and giving him a much needed break.
The boys loved to just run around. They were playing tag, of course, climbing up some of the light poles.
We really liked anything that was a post pole, like climbing them, spinning around them, climbing them and jumping off.
So after doing half of the Freedom Trail that day, we backtracked and went back to Boston Common, hopped in the car, went back to our hotel at Concord.
Matt had a pretty massive migraine, so he rested for a while, and I took the boys to the pool.
Yeah, we really like staying in hotels with pools.
We really like hotels with pools.
In a quarter mile, you will arrive at your destination.
We went to a graveyard called Sleepy Hollow.
Which, by the way, you take Elm Street to get to. It was so peaceful and beautiful, and I loved it. So there were a ton of authors like Louisa May Alcott, who I love, and I read her books growing up. It was really cool to go there and be able to kind of honor and remember them.
And now where are we going, guys? What are we getting?
Ice cream.
Ice cream!
We went to an ice cream place and I got a strawberry ice cream cone. And then there was like a railroad right by it, railroad tracks right by it. And we were super close to a train when it came by.
So the last day we went back to Boston. We were gonna finish up the Freedom Trail. But instead of walking the full distance, we hopped on the subway and got off at Haymarket so that we could pick up for the second half of the Freedom Trail.
And then we went directly to Mike's Pastries. And Mike's Pastries is known for their lobster tails and their cannolis. Those were the two main things that I had read about getting and that my friends from the area had said we should get. We went to Paul Revere's house, and like any good tourist, the boys raced in an empty parking lot nearby. We decided not to pay to go in. For us, it was enough to just see the house. So right by Paul Revere's statue is this chocolate place at the Old North Church. They give you free samples. It was really, really amazing. And you can order them online, so I'd recommend doing that.
Me and Quinn decided to chase pigeons while we were in Boston.
This is what we do sometimes. Massachusetts does have a lot of pigeons, and that's pigeon chasing.
From there we crossed the North Washington Street Bridge and made our way over to City Square Park, where we were able to have our lobster tails and cannolis, which tasted so good.
After our sustenance of Mike's Pastries, it gave us the energy we needed to go to Bunker Hill. The boys bought gifts there. They love toy soldiers, and I'm not sure if that was the start of the obsession with them, but they like to get toy soldiers everywhere we go.
Bunker Hill Monument was 294 steps, and it just spirals all the way up. You made it.
And then you have to do all those 294 back down.
From there we went to see the USS Constitution, which is again this old warship.
And it had all like the cannons through the holes.
You start out on the top deck, but then you can go underneath into the lower decks. Just a really cool experience to be on that boat. And that whole area is just really beautiful. You're able to see an old Navy ship there as well. And from there we caught a ferry, which took us back to Long Wharf there in Boston, so that we could just walk back to where we had parked.
If you were to dump tea where it actually had been, you'd be like dumping it on the sidewalk somewhere in downtown Boston.
Boston is one of those cities that I absolutely love, and it's one of those places where there's just history everywhere you go.
I really liked Boston and I would go back if I could.
Visit Freedom Trail, see the dead guy on his horse. Make sure to subscribe and click the bell.
I hope you enjoyed this throwback. We've got a few more throwbacks that we've recorded that we'll be posting in the coming weeks, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
And that was Boston.
Claire?
Yeah, hold it like you.